Our food and cuisine is a mark of our identity and culture. Today I've got some amazing women and men who are going to share some of their family recipes and impart some of their traditional wisdom. Together, let's explore Pothohari cuisine.
You know, the first civilization in the world was in Pothohar. I don't know if you know that, in that region. So it's about 400 to 400 miles away from there. 6000 BC was the first in Harappa. Right. And all of Buddhism came from around the region in Gondara. So it's got so much history.
A lot of history.
Because it's a melting pot of the East and the West. All the people from India, all the people coming from Persia, all the people coming to China. Because we mustn't forget that the Chinese were also on that route. So the Arabs are on that route. And so you've got this really interesting area where all these heritage is from. Also, you know, one of the great things we learned when I went to Pothohar is, you know, if you come to our house as a guest, we are always, you know, going our utmost to welcome you. That tradition is still there.
So
and those were the people living there today. So that land has something and it has some story to tell.
That Pothoharis believed that being together, they cooked and they always had meal together. That as a family bonding thing, which I liked very much about this, and we did it all our life.
And in those days also, it was a ritual that whenever someone comes to your house, he can't go like this. It may be even postman. So you have to give something, a cup of tea or a piece of mithai or any sharbat.
And I remember as a very young child, because we didn't have, the water had to be fetched from wells, and I used to walk with my mother. She used to have that clay pot, and every single day, before going to bed, they will give us milk, that tall glasses. Everybody had milk, and I continued doing that in Tanzania.
You made your own thing?
My own thing.
क्योंकि हर चीज़ कार बनती सी उस वेले लोग अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते सी पाकिस्तान तो आए हो तुसी इंडिया स्लोली सारे उत्ते सेट होए ना कोई स्टोव नहीं होंदे सी कुछ अंगीठियां बालदे सी सब कुछ करदे सी तो उसी ते अंगीठी ते कुकिंग होंदी सी तो उस तो बाद स्टोव आए सब कुछ आए गैस ते बहुत लेट आई है मैं अंगीठी मैं बनाती होंदी सा कोले पा के तो फिर जिस वेल गुड़ राती बहुत ठंड होंदी सी ना तो अंगीठी अंदर कमरे च रख देंदे सी मम्मी क्योंकि ठंड बड़ी होंदी सी सर्दियां ते अंगीठी नाल ही गर्म करदे सी उत्थे कोई हीटर नहीं होंदे सी कुछ नहीं होंदे गर्मी होंदी सी पक्खा उत्ते टांग के डंडा ते चादर नाल पंखा करदे सी.
And it is to do with parents cooking. They've seen you cook, and that's where the learning is.
Absolutely.
If you cook at home, that's where
the kids pick up those skills then.
That's so important.
Yeah, because otherwise they just end up eating takeaways all the time, which is so unhealthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
उत्थे गोभी होंदी सी शलगम होंदे सी गर्मियां बहुत ते फिर वो धुप्प ते सुका के फिर उदी अचार भी बनांदे सी गोभी दा भी ते शलगम दा भी सा पर जेड़ा सीजन होंदा सी ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਟਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਮਟਰ ਛਿਲਕੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਡਰਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇ ਬਣਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਰੈਸ਼ ਹੀ ਬਣਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਰੋਜ਼ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਜਾਓ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ ਫਿਰ ਕੁਕਿੰਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਈਵਨ ਪਾਲਕ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਇਹ ਉਹ ਮੇਥੀ ਸਭ ਫਰੈਸ਼ ਕੋਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਵਕਤ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਥੀ ਸੁਕਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਪਰ ਪਾਲਕ ਨਹੀਂ so fresh ਹੀ ਬਣਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ.
Our aim really should be to promote good Pothohari cuisine, Punjabi cuisine or any home cuisine to the younger generation. It doesn't help because things are so readily available these days. You can just pick up all these ready-made masalas and put them in and they're short of time. However, it is really important to encourage them to go that way, and also it's nutritious as well to make your own food and you know what's gone in there. There are no preservatives and it's cheaper.
Okay. Gurdeep ji, what will you be cooking for us today?
I'd like to mix katte wala saag, mise pronte and adrak wali cha. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Shall we go in then?
So Gurdeep ji, what was your initial memory of this dish?
I learned it from my nanny, maternal grandmother. She came from Pothohari, from Rawalpindi, and that's my initial memory. It's a three-step dish really.
Okay.
So khatte wala saag, as the name defines, is khatta comes from the yogurt that we put in it.
Yes.
And saag, as we know, is the leafy vegetable. Now for khatte wala saag, I've adapted it a little bit in this country in that I use fresh palak, spinach.
Right.
So I'll start off with the first step, which is making the khatta. So I've started off with adding 2 to 3 tablespoons of natural yogurt in a bowl here, and I'd put approximately a liter of water. This is what we call the khatta, the stock if you like. And then into this I'll add a couple of tablespoons of gram flour. And this also is a thickening agent.
Yes.
And we give it a good stir. We'll add our salt and turmeric in it as well at the same time. I know a lot of people might think this is a lot of salt, but
There's a lot of saag.
there is a lot of saag, that's right. Now, turmeric traditionally wasn't used, but these days we all know that turmeric is of high medicinal value.
Lots of health
So
benefits.
that's right. So I tend to use turmeric in my food, and I'll give it a good stir. And usually at this stage, I like to keep this for a little while, so the besan and the yogurt and the water mixes quite well.
And it sets quite well.
That's right. So I'll leave it, because if you notice there are a little globules or granules,
Little
you know.
lumps in them.
Yeah, and I'll just give it a chance for it to mix together.
And normally you would leave this for about...
About 5 minutes or so. As I said, traditionally, for the proper saag
Yes.
that is cooked in Punjab, you would use all sorts of leafy vegetables.
Yes.
So you'd use methi, you'd use palak, you'd use sarson ka
Sarson
saag.
ka
Sarson,
saag.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yes,
Yeah,
which is really
traditional.
the mustard leaves, which is the traditional. But for this, as I said, we've modified it into a simpler version of
Whatever's
Yeah.
available,
But for
yeah.
khatte wala saag, you don't use the ingredients that I've mentioned for the traditional saag. Okay, so I'm going to let this boil for about 10 minutes or so.
Okay. When does the tarka go into the saag?
Right at the end.
Towards the end?
Yes.
Okay.
So as I said, we let this boil for about 10 minutes, and as soon as it comes into boil, I'll add the chopped spinach that I have here.
Yes.
So I've got about 300 grams.
Only spinach leaves?
Only this for this khatte wala saag
Is
is
only
just
spinach.
it's just spinach leaf.
Okay.
That's right. And also I've got a little bit of fenugreek, methi,
Methi
dry
leaves.
methi,
Dry
to
methi
give you
leaves.
the flavor.
Okay, what are the ingredients for the tarka?
I start off with a little bit of oil, any oil that you use at home, and hing. Hing is a very important
Okay.
ingredient, and it really again is very beneficial for health reasons. Kashmiri
Dried chili?
dried chili, and then cloves and mustard, fenugreek seeds.
Fenugreek seeds.
Fenugreek
Are
seeds.
these also methi seeds?
Methi seeds,
Methi
that's exactly the
okay.
same, that's right, yes. And the most important ingredient is rye,
Is rye, mustard
mustard
seeds.
seed as well,
Okay.
and jeera, a little bit of jeera.
Little bit of jeera.
That's got the mustard and the jeera and the haldi and all the basic spices that
Basic
you use for
spices.
your Indian cooking.
Right.
Just a tiny bit of oil. And while this is boiling, we've got to make sure also that we keep giving it
Otherwise it'll get lumpy?
that it'll get lumpy, and also the more stirring you do,
Yes.
the creamier it gets.
Smoother and creamier
Yeah,
it gets.
that's right. And that's
Okay, so when the oil is hot, we add a little bit of hing, dried chilies.
couple of cloves, no
Couple of
more than
cloves.
that, because cloves are quite strong.
Yes.
The fenugreek seeds,
Fenugreek seeds. A little bit of
a
jeera.
little bit of jeera, bit more I think. That's what Indian cooking is all about.
Yeah.
It's
Flavors.
more flavor, visual, and mustard.
Mustard
and
seeds.
this is also what gives you the khatta taste.
The mustard seeds.
The mustard
Okay, make it a little bit cut
Yeah.
down. And what do you eat
now
it
at this
with?
stage, because I don't really want
Yeah.
any spluttering going
Otherwise
on.
you'll get mustard seeds all over the kitchen.
That's right. Yeah. The saag that you use in India would be definitely have sarson in it.
Sarson ka saag.
Yeah. So while this has come to a boil,
Yes.
I'm going to add some crushed garlic. Gives you that really lovely flavor. Then you'll add your chopped spinach.
Chopped spinach.
And in fact, you can add methi leaves into the tarka.
Oh, so it goes in at the end, the
So
methi leaves.
that's right, because otherwise they burn.
Okay.
Also, you can add rice which I have soaked previously, literally a fistful of rice. Again, it's a thickening agent, and so this is going to boil now for good half an hour or so. The more you boil and stir at this stage, the creamier it becomes and thicker it becomes. And then when it's, as I said, after 30 minutes, we can add the tarka to it right at the end.
Right at the end.
Traditionally, they would go into the fields and collect sarson, palak, methi, that would be all fresh.
Different greens.
And then they would mix it, really boil it
Boil it
for a
in.
long time,
Okay.
and until it was soft and cooked, and you would leave it cooking for good few hours, and then after that you would do what we call kota. You know, you put a little bit of besan in it,
Yes.
makki ka atta or besan, and then using a wooden
Sort of instrument.
with the prongs
Yes.
at the end. You may have seen those.
I've seen those.
And they would use that to really
keep
give
stirring
give it a good mix, and so you get that nice smooth texture. This is really what I would call a comfort dish, a good winter comfort dish.
Yeah.
Okay. Now besan also is associated with the cold weather. So you have besan ki barfi, besan ke laddu. These are all kind of things that are nutritious in the winter time. Besan is also used for Punjabi pakoras.
Yes.
Very, very versatile flour. And then once I feel I'm quite happy with the consistency, I would add my tarka. Okay?
Towards the end.
Towards the end. Because you can see this is quite thick now, but this is cold. If I warm it, it will be slightly runnier. And you can see the Kashmiri chilies on the top. And towards the end, I've sprinkled fresh coriander powder. I use a lot of fresh coriander powder, freshly
Right
ground.
at the end, towards
Right
the
at
end.
the end. And that gives it a lovely flavour. And
It looks absolutely delicious. Pradeepji, what would you normally eat saag with?
traditional saag you would eat with makki ki roti.
Okay.
Okay, and khatte wala saag's already got rice in it.
Yes.
It's quite thick. It's what I would call a one pot dish.
Yes.
It's got everything in it. It's got the protein, it's got the carbohydrate, it's got the greens in it. You know, it's a complete dish in itself.
And we have
And
nasi
then
di
we've got-
pronte.
and then we've got what I call mise pronte, which I prepared earlier. And mise pronte is made out of wheat flour and besan, and in that I have mixed cauliflower, onion, ginger, garlic, chili, and methi as well in it,
Which
and
has made it a
palak,
bit green.
and a little bit of oil. So the consistency is quite soft, as you can see. You would serve a little bit of onion on the side,
Yes.
and green chili for those who want it hotter. And you can have a little bit of paratha with it if you
A
like.
little bit of the absolutely delicious.
Thank you. And it's better to prepare this dish at least a day before. That's where you get the khatta taste. So it would be good, but it will be even better tomorrow.
Very delicious.
You can
I
take
have to
that.
finish this now.
In my case, I learned from my grandmother,
Right.
who came to this country in the 70s, and she was a vegetarian.
Was she also from the Pothohari region?
She definitely was from the Pothohari region, from Gujar Khan, but she was vegetarian.
And
but-
yet she cooked meat.
And yet she cooked meat. But on my mum's side, there were other, we have a lot of men cooking.
My dad used to cook lamb. So I picked up cooking actually from him.
Vinuji, what are we cooking today?
Today we're making lamb dish with shalgam,
With shalgam.
which my grandfather, my nanaji used to eat every night. They used to make very different kind of shalgam dish, either with tariwala, with gravy, with just peas,
Yes.
or just shalgam on its own.
So all these are the traditional dishes that
Yes.
are from that region.
Yeah.
So for this dish that we have shargam, which is turnips, and it's very common in Pothohari cooking where you're making meat, you can combine it with different vegetables. The typical one is tinde. Then the main ingredients we have will be having garlic, in this case is pureed, we got ginger, tomatoes, and onions, and we have our bay leaves, and here we have the dry spices. They are ground. We have ground versions of the spices too, and here we've got lamb. Now, the ideal lamb for a Pothohari dish would be from an Indian butcher. And you do actually want bone. If you want a flavorful meat dish, you want the bone aspect. And also, Indian lamb tends to take a longer time to cook. Indian meat tends to be more like what we call mutton in English.
Yeah, older, slightly older.
Older, the lamb is about 3 years old in that case. Goat meat is also what they would have had. So sometimes we have Nepali shops and we can get goat meat. And that's also very flavorful, but different kind of texture, but similar, because bakri is what they used to actually make. You know, to cook Indian meat is not a 10-minute process because its time brings out the flavors and saturates it. And in fact, most of the time when we cook curry, we don't even eat the first day. We make the curry, we eat the next day. And also, you know, if you got heat like chilies and all that, it calms it down, mellows it and the flavor becomes really, and that's when the bone aspect really makes a difference. That having the bone, you know, adds a lot of flavor to it.
So first I roast all the dry masalas, which is the garam masala, to get all the flavor out. And then I'll put the oil and start frying the onion. Drying roasting just gives that really
brings
nice
out the
aroma.
flavor.
As tradition, they used to always cook in ghee.
Yes.
Then I put the bay leaf as well. And then I'll put all the onions. So once it's slightly brown, then we'll add our garlic paste, ginger paste, and then with that tomato.
Basically, in the old days, they would use cast iron. Yeah, loyedi. This is a sort of modern version of that this is cast iron. It takes the heat and distributes it. When you cook in this, it is a longer process, but it's much more flavorful. If we're going to cook meat and we want to make something of it, then we'll cook it in this and we cook it the day before. But if you want flavor, this is much better.
And also, you're keeping up with the tradition of using cast iron that the Pothoharis use.
You know, it's all chemistry.
Yes.
And what you're getting out of that is, you know, even the objects like you're using a wooden spoon and you're using the cast iron, I think it affects the flavor.
So the slow cooking is what the key of flavor is. Once the lamb is added and the water, it's going to sit in a very low heat for about 2 hours.
Okay.
Slightly brown, so we don't have to really cook it too much, enough for the flavor to come out. So once this is a little bit more brown, so we'll add the garlic paste, the ginger paste, fry it very little, and then I'll put the tomatoes, and then I'll put all the ingredient here like turmeric powder, paprika, more garam masala, there's black pepper, there's coriander powder, and this is coriander and cumin powder. Once it's just a lot more fried up and oil is slightly separating, then I'll fry the lamb with that oil which is separated.
With the masala?
With all the masala and the oil which is sort of has separated from the tomato and onion. And then fry it a bit, and that's it, just put, and then my key ingredient to tenderize is the green papaya, which is here. It's a natural meat tenderizer. So you only need very little. I would put it just after the lamb.
Just after the lamb?
Yeah, it doesn't need frying, but it just makes the lamb really nice and soft. Here it is, which I prepared earlier, actually prepared it yesterday. You can see that's the pieces of turnip. Which I added once the lamb was 90% cooked.
Yeah, so it's not completely mushed up.
Absolutely. And I've just put a green chili for garnish and little flavor. Yeah, and towards the end, I do put a bit of kasturi methi. That also brings out really nice flavor.
And especially for children growing up in this country, they like a bit of spice, but they don't necessarily like that heat.
And then you have a salad?
Used to have as I said, my Nanaji used to have this every night. And he'll have it with white muli, radish, green chili, and the onion which is not cut. They
Not
used to
cut.
call this a mukka onion.
Okay.
So would just bash
Oh, I
it with
see.
your hand. Yeah.
And eat it like that.
Eat it, yeah. So then when you eat it, you break it and eat it with the tandoori roti.
Yeah.
So we've grown up eating this kind of onion, which
Yes.
I think is not very common. So there's many ways to make lamb. You can make it with saag,
Lamb with saag.
yeah, just spinach. And the other thing I used to make for my father-in-law is lamb with cholian di dal, the
Okay.
chana dal.
And if you look at traditional,
Yes.
when we go back to, what they were originally making that I remember from childhood,
Yes.
especially when we talk about my grandmother and stuff, they would also not just have lamb with bones, because we talked about bones giving
Yeah.
flavor, but they would put in liver,
Liver.
and they would put in
Okay.
kidney. It's not a lot,
No.
like a little 10% or whatever.
Also for the flavor?
Because when you put liver, it makes the gravy.
Yes.
Right? And it's
Okay.
really, and it breaks up. It doesn't
Yeah.
stay like this. Once you cook it,
Yeah.
it disappears.
No.
So these are some of the things that we would have. And also in lamb, they would even cook, if it's winter, they cook rore, which are the knuckles.
Knuckles.
And it was like almost like a soup, which is very, very glutinous.
So very
It's a
hearty.
very stew, like stew.
Yeah, because they say that's
Yeah.
good for joints.
very
and
gelatinous, isn't it?
Gelatinous
Yeah,
and good for
yeah.
weather. When it's cold weather, and which they used to get a cold weather in Pothohari, because it's
Yeah.
sort of not by English standards, but certainly in the region it was
Yes.
cold. So there'll be different cuts of
Different
meat,
cuts of
and
meat.
some are more made in gravy, and some are made dry.
Yeah.
And occasionally they'll be made very dry.
Normally we would have this lamb dish with some naans.
With tandoori roti, so which
Tandoori
my
roti.
daughter Ria has made.
Excellent.
So she's gonna.
Wow,
And they look
beautiful.
amazing. And you made these, Ria. I would love to try some. Absolutely delicious. I can really taste all the spices coming through the lamb.
And the
Thank
fact
you.
that it was done yesterday is probably
Made it tastier.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
made it much tastier.
Yeah.
But she's helped me. I think she's helped me. Certainly, all of the children, when I get involved,
Yeah, they come and
sometime
help you
They
as
come.
well.
They come and help. Look, we are in a world of so much choice, but it's important to know your heritage.
Yes.
So I'm always explaining to them, and they don't always want to listen to it. But I know that one day, when they reach a certain age, that will become useful for them to understand what their grounding is, because they thought, that the families in Calcutta, is in Bombay, is in Delhi, but it's not really. All of these people, the heritage is from Rawalpindi area,
The
Pothohari region.
Yes.
And until you go there, then you learn and you understand. And so I've explained that to them, and my plan is one day to take them all there, so they get to see, because
We live in a time where the convenience of just ordering on the app.
Yes.
So that's the main point, is us explaining is that what you cook at home, you know what's gone in
Yes,
it.
it's more nutritious.
And all the good properties of the
Yes.
spices
Yes,
actually comes
with health
with
benefits.
the health, with home.
I just want to say thank you so much for showing us your lamb dish and talking about all the different recipes with your family today.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Will you enjoy the food now?
I will. Thank you.
We are just going to show you today making of pindi chana,
Pindi chana.
which is original dish from Rawalpindi. My mom used to make very good
same-
food.
I learned them from my mom as well.
So we
Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
traditional dish.
Traditional.
we used to go to my mom for chole bhature or chole and puris. Yeah, for the chane, you normally have these kabli chana, and they are boiled. And to give it a black color, dark color, we use amla, dry amla.
Okay, that gives it the color.
It gives the color, because normally people, what they do is they either put tea bags in there,
Yes.
or they brown masala with the anardana and everything. They put that. But this is the traditional way when you boil, and as the chanas cool down, they acquire the color, which is they become
This is-
like that.
This is the color after it's been boiled
After
with
they've
the
been
amla.
cooked with the amla, this is the color they have.
Okay, it's quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it all depends how much amla you put in there.
Right.
And then secondly, these chanas are always dry. So you have dry masalas on there.
Yeah.
After the masala, when it's all wrapped up with the masala, then you put the tadka on there.
Okay.
So the masalas are like jeera, dhania, green, red chilies, amchur powder, which is mango.
It's important.
Yeah, and then you have a chana masala as well, which you can put the commercial one. You can mix it with it.
But do you use your own homemade masala
Yeah,
as well?
ordinary masalas mixed together.
Right.
And there's nothing special to these masalas.
Right.
It's just the way you mix them, the quantity you mix them, the proportion. That's what brings it out. Now we do the masala, like I've got jeera powder, and then I've got dhania powder, which is coriander, and the red chilies, and then I've got a little bit of haldi, not too much because these chanas are dark in color, and then I've got salt in there. Salt. Now you put amchur in there, which is dried mango powder, which gives you the tartness. And then you have a bit of chana masala, which is a ready-made one, which is not a traditional because those days they never used to have commercial ones. Now this masala you mix with the boiled chanas, just dry. So that's the masala done. Yeah, it gives you a better mix. With the spoon you can't mix them so properly, Now for the tadka,
So it's just a little bit only.
I've got this mustard oil in here. Just heat the oil. Takes about. Amritsari chole, they got onions and tomatoes and all that gravy, Pindi chole don't have any gravy. They are dry and they never have any onions and tomatoes. So you see the sizzle.
Now then you can garnish it with the.
I didn't know that.
And then you garnish with ginger. That's it, totally done. It's so easy to make these,
These are much easier than the masala wale, na?
Yeah.
Boil karna hai with amla. They become black.
And then the dry
Masala
masalas.
dry paake and put hot oil on there and that's all.
Amazing. And is this dish eaten with something as a side dish?
Yeah, with the chole pothohari or chole puri, you have normally a chutney with it.
A pudna chutney?
Pudna chutney, which is here. This is made with, we got mint.
Mint.
I don't have coriander at the moment.
Is this from your garden?
This is from the garden, yeah.
Excellent.
We have mint, coriander, onions, lemon or lemon juice, and I put in pepper, bell pepper, which is capsicum
Okay.
as well.
Not
Capsicum
spicy,
and green chili.
That's just for a flavor. Yeah.
for flavor. Chole
And you put
some.
lemon to make it a bit tart. Some people use mango powder.
And how was chutney traditionally made?
Traditionally chutney, because those days people didn't have electric grinders or whatever.
No.
So they used to make it with this one, which is called pestle mortar.
Pestle.
But in India they used to call it dori gandanda or kundi sota.
Okay.
It is made from rock stone.
So it must be
And
very heavy.
Very, very heavy.
Yeah.
It's about 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And then you have this big danda, which is just to grind,
To pound it up.
To pound it and grind. And those chutneys, they were not that fine like what we do in the grinder.
No.
They were thick and rustic.
Their texture to them.
Texture, yeah. So they were rustic,
Yes.
which was just eaten sometimes just with the paratha also.
So this is the way it used to be made.
They used to be traditionally made like
Yes.
that.
In those days, they used to make masala, sukke masala in that.
In that, to grind it up.
Grind it up,
Yes.
yeah. Sare mix karke na.
Yeah.
Even they used to do for masala for chicken and all that, grind it in here and then fry it.
Which is nice and fresh.
Fresh and
Yeah.
it tastes better.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with the fresh turmeric,
Yes.
fresh herbs and spices,
I can show you like these. You
Yes.
they which purane type which ਕਰਦੇ ਦੇ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਦਾਲ
To make dal in
ਹਾਂਜੀ
them?
in that
Okay.
one yeah on proper agu te and this is like called parat which is they
Parat.
make atta in that one
To gunno the atta.
ਹਾਂਜੀ gunno the atta
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
for the whole family my
Yes.
mother this is belong to my mother when she
Oh, how
got
lovely.
married.
So your mother used this?
Haji, she used it in India and then she brought it here as well.
Yeah.
And they used it
In
here.
India, they boil milk, you know. We
Yes.
don't do it here.
No.
But traditionally, we used to boil it in that.
In this
and
container.
on low heat, because it's got a thick base,
It's
Yes.
very
and it
heavy
really
as
used to
well.
burn.
Yeah.
So it doesn't burn
And
easily.
then you get a
Yeah.
big skin on the top,
Yeah,
which
malai,
is malai.
yes.
And that used to go in the fridge,
Yes.
and then you take the malai off, you know.
Yeah.
ਨਾਨੀਮਾ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਚਾਈਲਡਹੁੱਡ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ
My father's family was in Rawalpindi, so we used to go there. So they had their own specialities, especially they used to make even shalgam, curry wala, bangan, then mithe chawal. So and the pakoras. I told you रात को सब यही खाते थे. Morning की चपाती and lot of pakoras with mint chutney.
हाँ जी
And winter में फिर रात को लपसी पीते थे.
नानीमा what are you going to be showing us today
We are making brinjal slices, but in Punjabi we call it kachri.
okay
So this is a very good speciality of Pothohari, and we have to take this type of variety, not the small ones.
okay
So we cut into slices like this, about 1/2 inch thick. Okay. Sprinkle lemon juice so that they don't become dark.
Okay.
After that, we have put salt, and then this is red chili powder, also called Kashmiri mirch, and this is ajwain, very good for digestion, and this is garam masala. So we all sprinkle this, and then last of all we sprinkled besan like this. We have to shallow fry, so don't put too much oil. You can use ghee also, anything you want.
नानीमा I'll try putting one नानीमा how long do we fry like this
Approximately 3 to 4 minutes one side.
okay नानीमा how did you learn your cooking
These dishes of Pothohari I learned from my grandmother. My father's family was in Quetta, but his ancestors were from Rawalpindi.
okay
So we used to go there and we used to eat many things in Bangan, especially pakoras and this kachri. Then after marriage, my mother-in-law, she belonged to Rawalpindi and my father-in-law belonged to Peshawar. So she also used to make so many things and I learned from her also.
wow
Now we can turn.
is she doing well Nani
Yeah, she's becoming expert. In Bangan, we can make so many things. Pakoras cut into long strips and then dip in besan.
we all
besan
love
batter.
pakora
My grandmother told me that they used to make chapatis in the morning, and in the evening they used to make lot of pakoras and go to terrace and then eat it, because at that time there was no air conditioner or something.
Yeah.
So they enjoyed that.
and Nanima what was it like cooking back then before we had all of the modern homes
They had
and-
angithis,
what's that
chula.
okay
I mean, made of mud or bricks. So they just used to put wood in that
okay
and burn it. And sometimes coal was there.
yeah
They used to put that. They made morning's khana and फिर dal उस पे रख दी. So it used to cook for few hours.
so it was a whole day activity
Yeah,
to
whole
do
day.
cooking
So now it is ready.
okay
You can check it by just inserting a spoon or knife. If it goes easily, it means it is ready. And in case they become too brown, then you can just sprinkle few drops of water and cover for a minute. I hope you are going to make all these things.
I will try my best
Yeah, you must try.
Cooking thing comes from my mother. Every time my girls got married, she will write some recipes and give that as well as gift, so that they'll be cooking. And in this little booklet, she has written all those little things she thought her children, grandchildren should be aware of. And I kept on trying new ones. And then later on, I compiled some set by Jagjit and Amrit Korbak. That's my mother. Because it's basically her recipes. And now I'm cooking for my children and my grandchildren. We have dal mixed with dudi, kaddu kind of thing. So I mix this with, this is chana dal. So mix these two, and these ones I pressure cooked in this one with 3 cups of water, and pressure cook it and stop it when it has whistled 3 times, and then let it cool, and in the meantime you prepare this masala. I feel that to give a real taste, nothing should be overdone. You put your ghee, oil, and then put onions first. When it has slight brown look, then you put ginger and chili, and then switch it off. Once it has cooled down the pan,
so then you add the masala to the dal and you mix it.
And mix it very well. In this one we will have jeera, haldi, loon, dry cumin, jeera powder. And I put this is degi mirch.
Okay.
It's mirch, it's not sharp in
Not very
taste.
spicy.
It just gives color.
Color.
And then over very low heat, cook for another 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then it blends together beautifully.
Lovely.
And in the end you put your fresh coriander leaves. First put some while you are boiling the dal along with the dal. And then a little bit in here.
Yes.
And once everything is ready, and you garnish it again with little bit of coriander leaves.
ਮਿੱਠਾ ਰੋਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਗੁੜ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਮਿਠਾਈ ਖਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਗੁੜ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਨ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸੀ ਪਠਾਰੀਆਂ ਦਾ। ਸਰਦੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਵਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ, ਇਹ ਸਰਦੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਵਾ ਹੈ। ਗਰਮੀ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਸੁੱਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਇੰਝ ਹੀ ਬਦਾਮ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਖਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ। ਗੁੜ ਮੈਲਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਚੁੱਲ੍ਹੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਘਿਓ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਸਿਰਫ ਸੁੱਟ ਤੇ ਬਦਾਮ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਲਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਖਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਇਹ 2 ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਰਮ ਹੀ ਕਟੋਰੀ 'ਚ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਇੰਝ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਨਾ। ਸਰਦੀ ਦਾ ਮੇਵਾ ਹੈ ਸੀ, ਪੰਜੀਰੀ ਵੀ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਖਸਖਸ ਦਾ ਨਾ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਵਰੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵਿਦ ਚਾਹ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਵਿੰਟਰ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਫॉर ਯੂ। ਔਰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਦੇ ਹੈਵ ਦਿਸ ਓਲਡ ਕਿ ਬੇਬੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰਦੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਚਾਹ ਨਾਲ 2 ਚਮਚਾ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਫॉर ਯੋਰ ਹੈਲਥ ਇਨ ਵਿੰਟਰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ। ਖਸਖਸ ਤੇ ਸੂਜੀ ਦੀ ਖੀਰ, ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁੱਕਾ ਹੀ ਭੁੰਨ ਲਓ, ਇੱਕ ਸਾਈਡ 'ਤੇ ਰੱਖ ਲਓ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਘਿਓ ਪਾ ਕੇ 1 ਬਿਗਰ ਸਪੂਨ ਘਿਓ, 2 ਸਪੂਨ ਆਫ ਸੂਜੀ, ਖਸਖਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਦਾਮ ਮਿਕਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਗ੍ਰਾਈਂਡ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਖਸਖਸ ਗ੍ਰਾਈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਸੂਜੀ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਭੁੰਨੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਸਖਸ ਪਾਣੀ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਰਾਈ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਭੁੰਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਫਿਰ ਮਿਕਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਵੈਨ ਦੇ ਰੋਸਟ then you put milk. Milk is 1 cup. दूध पा के फिर 5-10 मिनट उबल जाएगा। 2 big spoon of brown sugar at the end. सेमियां गल जानियां ते खीर तैयार हो। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਵੈਸੇ ਪੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਖਸਖਸ ਤੇ ਬਦਾਮ ਕੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਰਾਤੀ ਸਰਦੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਐ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ, ਤੇ ਸਿਰਫ ਉਹ ਥੱਲੇ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਚਮਚ ਇੱਕ ਖਸਖਸ ਤੇ ਉੱਤੋਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਾ ਦਿਓ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਰਹੇ।
ਐਕਸਲੈਂਟ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਰੋੜਾ ਮਿਠਾਈ, ਉਹ ਬਣਦੀ ਪਲੇਨ ਫਲਾਵਰ ਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਵਿਦ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ। ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਘਿਓ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਮੋਹਣੀ ਬਣਾ ਦੇਈਦੀ ਘਿਓ ਪਾ ਕੇ। ਜਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮੋਹਣੀ ਬਣ ਜਾਏ ਤਾਂ ਬੜਾ ਹਾਰਡ ਆਟਾ ਗੁੰਨਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਫਿਰ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਵੇਲ ਕੇ ਜਾਂ ਗੋਲ ਗੋਲ ਤਰ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਲ ਲਓ ਆਇਲ ਵਿੱਚ। ਤਲਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਠੰਡੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ ਤਾਂ ਚਾਸ਼ਨੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਬੜਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਹੈ। ਚਾਸ਼ਨੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ 1 ਕੱਪ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਤੇ 1 ਕੱਪ ਹੀ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ, ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹ ਚਾਸ਼ਨੀ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਦੇਰ ਉਬਲੇਗੀ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਬੜੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਸ ਚਾਸ਼ਨੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੋਲੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਨਾ, ਰੋੜੇ ਹੀ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਹਿਲਾਈ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਰੋੜਾ ਮਿਠਾਈ ਬੜੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਉਸਦੀ। ਤੇ ਦੈਟਸ ਰੈਡੀ। ਆਟੇ ਗੁੰਨਣ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤਾਂ ਸਖਤ ਆਟਾ ਗੁੰਨਣਾ ਮੈਂ, ਢਿੱਲਾ ਗੁੰਨੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਅੱਛੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਨਗੇ। ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਮੋਣੀ ਵੀ ਘਿਓ ਦੀ ਪਏਗੀ, ਤੇਲ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਪਕੌੜੇ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਕੜਾਹੀ ਗਰਮ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਤੇਲ ਗਰਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ 1 ਚਮਚ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਨਮਕ ਦੀ ਪਾ ਦਿਓ, ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੇਲ ਇੰਨਾ ਖਿੱਚਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਕੌੜੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਸੌਲਟ ਥੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਬੈਠਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ, ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਕੌੜਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਟੇਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏਗਾ। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਪਕੌੜੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਿੱਚਦੇ ਈਵਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੀ ਪਨੀਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾ ਫਰਾਈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੀਨ ਪਾ ਦਿਓ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਲੂਣ ਪਾ ਦਿਓਗੇ ਤੇਲ 'ਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ 'ਚ ਖਿੱਚੇਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇਲ ਪੂੜੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਪੂੜੀਆਂ ਬਣਾਓਗੇ ਪੂੜੀਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਧੀ ਚਮਚ ਪਾ ਦਿਓ ਤੇ ਪੂੜੀਆਂ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਪੀ ਬਣਨਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਖਿੱਚਣਗੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇਲ ਇਹ ਦੀ ਸੀਕ੍ਰੇਟ ਹੈਗੀ
I'm going to prepare a few dishes using carrots.
Excellent.
And the very first dish is carrot kheer. One thing I notice whenever I prepare a dish using milk, it always overflows.
Yes.
So the best thing is just take a big pan
Okay.
so that it doesn't over and you can cook nice. So for this gajar di kheer, the first thing is you put milk in there and then you add gajar in there. What is required? You add some milk powder in there because end of the day when you want to eat kheer, it should taste something like not watery.
Yes.
And this is important. And then in this one you'll be adding cardamom because the kheer must smell of ilachi. And then you can even add raisins. And towards the end you grind some almond. You want the taste of almond in your mouth, so you don't leave it for too long. You just put it right at the end. For that, to make it sweet, I use jaggery, but the traditional way is to add sugar. Again, I feel this is more healthy than this one and gives nicer, there's a nicer flavor. Traditionally this is done. Back home in Pothohari, the milk you can imagine must be so pure and so thick. And these ideas I got because I started using skimmed milk. Thick.
So is the custard to make the kheer thicker? Is that the reason
that
for adding?
also will thicken it up.
Okay.
Give that thick consistency.
Thick consistency.
For kheer,
you want it to be a little thick.
You don't want a watery kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I found that this, you do make kheer on its own, but when you add handful over there, then the combination is really good.
Yes.
And your kheer is ready.
This is the prepared
This
kheer.
is the end product. You can smell it. Nice smell. Nice flavor.
It's delicious. And you can taste the creaminess.
Some people enjoy it cold, others enjoy it hot. Yeah, this is definitely my mother's dish. That every time I make it, I'll do something different.
But your mum did not add custard powder, or she
No,
added
she didn't.
No.
Hers was just this plain thing.
Just with the milk.
Milk
And semia.
and almonds.
And
that's it.
semia?
And semia. So we are a home who fan of sort of carrots. I think it is left with me the ingredients. I use those ingredients, but not necessarily the way my mother used.
So you've adapted it.
Yes, I've changed it, but they are very much in my mind.
Yes.
And
So you can
keep on
still
using
remember.
them again and
You
again.
can remember those recipes and you have adapted
Yes,
them.
I do it in my own
In your own way.
Own way.
I want to learn how to make kanji, Mama.
Kanji is actually a drink of beetroot and carrots. They used to have black carrots which are not available in UK. So we are taking ordinary orange carrot and we are using beetroot to give the same color. So just take water, put carrot, beetroot, salt, approximately 1 teaspoon, then red chili powder, a half teaspoon, ground mustard seeds. In Punjabi it is called rai. It gives sourness to the drink. Put it in a jar and keep it in sun, cover it and put it in the sun for 2 or 3 days and it is ready. So this is the kanji we made 3 days back.
Yeah. I never used to like kanji, but now actually this time when mom's made it, it's actually really, maybe I've grown up. I never used to relish it. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Now, Nanima, what is this? What are these special items now?
This is mango. This is mango murabba. So this is sweet and you can preserve it for even 2 years.
Wow.
So we just made blanch it, mango pieces, then we pricked it and then cooked in syrup for 2-3 hours, and again next day we cook till it is like, the syrup is like honey and the pieces are transparent.
The syrup is of sugar and water.
Sugar and water only. And then this is same thing murabba, but this is spicy one. So it is just like chutney. So it is salt, pepper, then methra, fenugreek seeds hote hain, and kalonji. So we just put that and cooked in the same way. So you can have with chapati, with bread or anything. And you can also preserve it almost for 2 years. Okay. Then the stones, we are not going to throw it. We boiled it with water, and then we are going to add little black salt and little bit of green cardamom, and this is a very good drink.
What is it called, Mama?
We can call it mango mint drink. इसमें थोड़े से पुदीने के पत्ते डाल देते हैं. It gives very good flavor.
पन्ना यही होता है, पन्ना फर्क होता है.
Almost same.
Same, almost. अच्छा, एक ही है.
ये जो peels है ना, इसके हमने when we peeled it, we are using these peels. छिलका इसका अचार बना देता है.
अरे वाह.
So we are not going to throw it. इसमें we added mustard oil, salt, red chili powder, and methras. So that's all.
So for one mango, you made achar.
Yeah.
You made a drink. You made 2 kinds of murabbas.
Yeah. Surya, what is your experience? I learned from my mama, you learn from your mama, and she will learn from her mama.
So you're going to carry on the tradition. I'm going to as well because I've now learned how to make kanji and lapsi.
So it really does connect me personally to my heritage, living here, but having that connect through food and us all enjoying Indian food together is absolutely.
I think it's gone down the generations.
Yeah.
So whatever I've learned from mum, the traditional food, I think you're making it the same way.
Absolutely, it's not only connecting me to my own culture, but also I think it's a bonding experience.
It is a bonding experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.